Hickok 45 here. Yes, we're going to look at the difference between a $400 hunting rifle and a $2,000 hunting rifle. Is there really a difference that matters? Let's put it that way. Well, let's just shoot the $400 hunting rifle. Now, it has a scope on it, so that makes it a little more expensive, but we'll talk about that, okay? Basically, the rifle without the scope is about 400 bucks. Ruger American. Let's see if it'll shoot. Oh boy, hit that steel. Hit that 2-liter. Let's try red plate in the middle. Ooh, it did. How about another, a bowling pin? Yep, it works. If you've ever had an Ruger American, you know anybody who has one? You know they tend to work, don't they? Good shooters. Well, let's try a Seiko Bavarian in 270. That one was in 308. This is in 270. It's the Seiko Model 85 Bavarian, and they run about $2,000. So let's see if it'll shoot. It had better, huh? Oh, that plate is still moving. Let's see if we can pop it again. We did. Woohoo! That's the one on the right. All right, we got to get a 2-liter with this thing too. We have another round than this that holds 5. That's why it costs more. 5 rounds versus 4. That'll cost you $1,000 at least every time, right? Hey, a 270 works. Have you noticed that? Yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit about the difference and why you really want to pay $2,000 instead of $400 or $500. And don't forget Sonoran Desert Institute, sdi.edu. You can get certified in gunsmithing, okay? Study firearms technology, start a new career, okay? Appreciate it. So we appreciate all the help we get from those people. And you people, most of you are people, I think, right? Yeah, probably. At least as much people as I am. So, all right, here we go. First disclaimer now. Let's keep down the class envy as much as possible. I know. It's really tempting to find a million reasons why you don't need a $2,000 rifle because it's no better than that one and you're just paying for the name, and we can all rationalize that kind of stuff. I do it every day and tell people I don't have a Mercedes because I'm not going to just pay for the name, or I'd be driving a Mercedes all the time, or even a Rolls Royce. I don't want to just pay for the name. Well, there's some truth in that though, isn't there? I'm giving you a hard time, but there is some truth in that. Sometimes we pay, well, we're always paying for the name. The name is how the reputation's established. Just like you individually, me individually, our name should mean something. If the name, the Mercedes didn't mean anything, it wouldn't mean anything, or Seiko, or Ruger, or Winchester, or whatever, right? So those names begin to have meaning because of the quality they represent or the lack of quality they represent. It's just kind of what it is. So yeah, we are sort of paying for the name. Question is it worth it that much though? Is it worth that much? Okay. Well, let's look at what you kind of get in a $400 rifle versus a couple thousand. And these are just samples. These are just samples I happen to have, and that's why, well, I say happen to have. We had this because I love this rifle, and I've mentioned that in the Sunday shoot around in the video, first video with it, and I'll link to that, how I've picked these things up at SHOT Show or NRA meeting, and I think, oh, this gun fits me like a glove, you know. And I finally got one from Bud's. And there's more to that story too. So that's why I have it. That was intentional. And then, well, we ought to compare this with a less expensive rifle that's very popular. And so I ordered this one from Bud's on loan, you know, as this one is on loan. And so that's why we're here, and that's what we're doing. So let's jump right in. Okay, what is the difference? Well, when you look at them, now pretend the scope is not on that, okay? You're not really looking at a scope. It doesn't, the thing that hit me, I thought, well, I want to get the cheap, you know, inexpensive Ruger American because they run about 400, you know, a little bit more. But I can't shoot it. I can't shoot that $400 rifle. So hence, that's one of the differences. if I order one of these, because you know most websites and gun shops have these, but they don't have a scope on them. Most of them, some do. This came with a scope, or I ordered the one with a scope. So that's one of the differences, maybe. Now some really expensive rifles might not have a sights either, metal sights, but the Ruger American is probably not going to have metal sights. Okay, so that's one way they keep the cost down. There's no sights on it. Okay, like this one, it has really nice sights. In fact, I wouldn't even put a scope on this if it were mine. So you get really nice sights. They're adjustable. They're on the barrel. Okay, and I always like that. Okay, so it's nice to have metal sights. Even if you do put a scope on there, you got backup sights, right? Just like on an AR-15. So you're more likely to get sights, metal sights, on a more expensive rifle. That's one of the differences. It's one way to cut costs. It's one reason a lot of rifles don't come with any sorts of no sights. Yeah, that's just a fact of life these days in terms of cutting expenses. Now, another obvious difference, we're going to go through the obvious concrete differences, and I don't have to tell you. There's a little bit of difference between the stock on these two rifles, right? Just a little bit. Yeah, and I'm sure you've already seen the beauty in this Seiko. Okay, this is the Bavarian model scope. I mean, look at that. I mean, that looks like something I would carve, hand carve, doesn't it? Just a gorgeous piece of wood. And as I said, when you bring that thing up, most people, unless I think you're kind of short, maybe, I don't know, you need to be a little bit taller. I don't know, because it feels so good to me and John. Just fits like a glove, has a plenty long length of pull, and it's a beautiful piece of wood. It's got 4N and all that. That's just, that is gorgeous. The checkering, and that's what you get. You know, it's now, does any of that make it shoot better? Not necessarily. Now it has a little swell right there, so boy, that thing is chiseled out beautifully. It's just really nice, the fit and the finish. Actually, are you ready for this? This is me. This is not John, the comedian. I really like the finish on this. That's hilarious, wasn't it? It is made in Finland, okay? Did you get it? Relatives in Kentucky, did you get that? Yeah, finish. It's got a finish on it. Okay, just make sure you got it. So yeah, the stock, I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous. You know, I love the way it's finished. Speaking of finish, you know, it's kind of the satin and just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it doesn't quite match this beautiful polymer. But you know, the problem with it too, though, by the time they spent the time on this stock and the finish, getting it beautiful, they couldn't afford to put stickers on it like Ruger did. So you have to buy, those cost extra if you want a Seiko sticker on the stock on these. I think that's the way that works. Okay, they're extra expense. What else? Or the trigger. You're going to get a really good trigger generally on a very expensive rifle like this, and it has a beautiful trigger. Now, Ruger has a really nice trigger too, and the Ruger American is not necessarily representative of every inexpensive rifle, because one thing which I hadn't mentioned yet is, and many of you know this better than I do because I don't really hunt, but bolt action rifles have come a long way in the last 10 to 20 years. You know, Savage, Ruger, various companies, and they have really nice triggers. This has a very nice trigger on it for an inexpensive rifle. You read anything you want on the Ruger American, some of the Savage rifles and that, both accuracy and the trigger have moved forward leaps and bounds in the last couple of decades. And for a very reasonable amount of money, you get a really nice trigger. So in some ways, you know, it's not night and day like it used to be. Now in the old days, it was there was far more difference there. So we want to be fair to the Ruger on that. Now this one does have the set trigger, and that's something that, you know, you're not necessarily going to get, you know, on an inexpensive rifle. When you cock it and you just push forward on it, it just uses the one trigger for that. And you saw in the first video with this rifle that, oh man, I'm not going to pull it, but you breathe on it, it shoots. Okay. So really nice trigger, and you got, even without the set, you've got a nice trigger, nice break, and then the set trigger is extremely light. All right, so that's, I would still say it's an advantage. Okay, although this baby has a nice trigger. Yeah, can we put a little more ammo in them? Yeah, let's do that. Let's just put a little more ammo as I'm talking. They both, you got polymer. That's the thing. You get polymer when you're going for kind of a bargain situation. And this one comes, I finally figured out how to get this out. You push down on the mag. We've been trying to force it. All you do is put a little pressure on that and it comes right out. You do get a metal magazine, again, because of, again, it's more expensive. I get the right caliber here, the right ammo. Use the right ammo. I think I know some guys that did a video called that. Use the right ammo. 270. This Seiko is a 270. So you got a metal magazine. Is that better than a polymer magazine? Oh, I don't know. Glock seems to do pretty well with a polymer magazine, right? Although there's metal in it. You know it worked Glock in somehow, didn't you? So, you get a metal magazine, bolts back. And here you get a polymer magazine, but it stands where it holds 4. All right. So as everybody has learned over the years, of course, if something's made of polymer, plastic, some of you would call it, who hate polymer, it's going to be less expensive. It's just that simple. But the one thing I can't talk about, well, I can't talk about anything like an expert, but I don't really like to bench rest stuff and just go to incredible lengths to test groups at various different ranges and all that sort of thing. But I've read enough on, well, both these rifles, and you probably know too, if you're into these kinds of rifles, which ones are accurate, which ones have a reputation for being accurate, and which ones don't. Well, the Seiko definitely has a reputation for being accurate. I'm talking inherent accuracy. And of course, because of the ergonomics of it, it enhances that because it just fits like a glove, right? And the Ruger American has a really strong reputation for being accurate, even though it may not be a beautiful Seiko or Weatherby or whatever you want to name. These rifles have established themselves as just one heck of a rifle, okay? So I'm not here to bash the Ruger American or the Savage or any of this new generation of bolt action hunting rifles. Just kind of pointing out some of the differences, what you do get on the more expensive ones or what you don't get on the less expensive ones, okay? And then you decide whether you rob a bank to buy one of them or not. So yeah, this came with a scope. Like I say, I think this runs around 6, I don't know, something 6.5 maybe with this particular scope. But I just needed to have sights on it so I could shoot it. So the only reason I got one with a scope. So I guess I could have just gotten the rail and stuck something on there. I don't know. But the rifle itself, without the scope, you're talking $400. You get a hunting rifle, and then it's up to you what you do after that. Okay. All right, let's take a couple more shots with it. There's a 2-liter over there. Maybe I can hit it. Let's hit that little red plate on the left. Now one more bullet. Let's just shoot the gong. What the heck? All right. The Ruger American. It's a well-established, fine rifle, and can't mix them up because it has Ruger on there, right? So you get a 3-lug bolt on this thing. You get more of a push feed with this one, where you get a controlled feed with this one, okay? So let me shoot it. You are supposed to be able to, with this rifle, kind of like a Mauser, you can be sideways or upside down, hanging from a tree or whatever, on the run, and still, have control of the round. What else do I want to shoot? Let's put one of those watermelon before we run out of ammo. Woo! I hope y'all can see that's a watermelon plant growing right there, by the way. And I don't know who planted it or how it got there, but we'll figure it out one day. Let's put one on the target. We haven't done that yet. Oh yeah, you know what else I haven't done? I gotta smoke one pot, all right? At least do that. Give me a bullet, give me a bullet. That's the wrong one. I shouldn't have laid that there. Yeah. 270. There we go. Didn't get a lot of smoke, but I just didn't want to not do that. All right. Watermelon. I just had to do that, didn't I? Made a mess. So there's some of the concrete, differences I've talked about. Now with this gun, not that it makes a difference. Some of the things, maybe none of them really make that much difference in terms of course, function. If you were an avid hunter, you just want a hunting rifle, a new one, you would probably take just as much game with this one as you would this, right? But another thing that I was going to point out, the bolt on this one is one piece of steel. It's made from one piece of steel, even the handle. Isn't that amazing? It looks like there's a joint there, but there's not. So the handle and everything is just one piece milled out. And so, yeah, it's just one of those differences. Maybe nothing that's essential. The other thing, as I pointed out in the Seiko video, when you work the action on this thing, it feels like $1 million. It just talk about precision. It's just amazing, the feel of this gun. So yeah, it ain't cheap. It runs around $2K. Now, I know the concept I like to bring up in these sorts of videos is just because this firearm is maybe 4 times as much money doesn't mean it's 4 times as good, right? Y'all know the principles of building things, and if you've got any age on you and you've bought a few different things, whether it's cars or watches or shoes or anything, tires, whatever it might be, in order to make something, and I'm just throwing out numbers, but in order to make something 10% better or 20% better, it might take twice as much money, okay? To make it 4 times or this is 4 times as expensive, doesn't mean it's 4 times as good. It might not even be twice as good, whatever that means, however we interpret that. Twice as effective, durable even, maybe, I don't know. So we all are aware of that, right? Sometimes you have to pay a lot more to get something that's a little better. It's just the way manufacturing goes. There's more handwork. It can be very expensive. A Smith & Wesson 686 will probably shoot just as well for about anybody and last as long or longer than a Colt Python. Talking about an old Python, or a new one, but an old Python. And the Python, costs twice as much off the shelf probably when they're new or more. It just takes a lot of money to get that polishing, to do the tweaking and the things that they did to the Python. A lot of handwork and that kind of thing, which is very expensive, okay? Doesn't mean if it costs 3 times as much, for example, that it's 3 times better. It's just the way the economies of scale, work. So anyway, pretty nice rifle. Now, a couple of things too, maybe more theoretical. Seiko has you're paying for the reputation. It's made in Finland. They have a reputation of making really fine rifles, right? You're paying partly for the ergonomics, the looks. I mean, like I said, when you pick this thing up, it feels like $1 million. When you pick this rifle up, it doesn't feel like $1 million. It just feels like something that's probably going to work, though, kind of like a Glock, Glock or something. But it just doesn't. You don't get that same feel at all. All right. So that's kind of falls under ergonomics. Like I said, accuracy, probably not enough difference for you to notice that would make a big difference in your life. You're shooting. Now, you people that do bench rest shooting, and that's most of what you do when you go to the range. You put it on a bench, and you're shooting at paper targets, and you do that with every rifle you shoot. Chime in. I don't do that. I don't enjoy that. Some of you do. And which of these rifles would you know, just from your experience, if you don't have an agenda, or whatever, a dog in the fight, would you expect to get better accuracy out of if you put a scope on both of them, put them both on a bench, locked them into a vise or whatever, and took some shots at 100 yards? Do you think there would be enough difference with the same ammo, basically same quality ammo? Do you? I'm asking too. This is not a rhetorical question or like an accusatory question. loaded question. I just really, what would your opinion be? Do you think that there would be a significant difference between the two? Because what I'm hearing is the Ruger American just surprises a lot of people on accuracy. They're riflemen, and I know these are supposed to be accurate, but they may not be any more accurate, inherently more accurate than the Ruger American. So there you go. So you got a push feed, you got a controlled feed, you've got a mechanical ejector on this thing. It's right down there. There's a groove in the bottom of the bolt. It's supposed to be really secure and ejects that round no matter what's going on. If you got a Cape Buffalo charging you, things like that. So those little things like that might make a difference. And again, of course, you have the pride of ownership. Maybe hunting is a big thing with you, and you don't mind, like most of us, we don't mind if it's something we really like. If it's golf, we want some really good clubs. So we can't blame our inadequacies on the clubs. We know we've taken care of the clubs. We've got some of the best clubs. Same clubs Tiger would use or whoever, So I can't blame it on them now. So it's up to me. I got to practice, okay? Some of us are like that with firearms. We just want a really nice firearm. We know it'll work. It's going to be durable. It's going to be accurate. And then we'll go from there. And it doesn't mean you're rich if you buy a firearm like this. A lot of people with average incomes, they strive to save money to buy something they really like a car. Think about how many people are driving really expensive cars around. It's not because they're rich. They just really like to have a nice car, and they save up for that, and that's where they put their money. And so you might be the same way with a hunting rifle. You just want a really nice hunting rifle or a skeet gun. That's just your thing. That's what you do. It's where you put your money. You don't have a bass boat. You don't have a lot of other hobbies, and you just want to, by golly, you want a Seiko, to deer hunt with or whatever it is you do. And you don't need it. This one would do probably the same thing, but you just like one of these. So anyway, getting a little bit wordy. I think probably the other differences might be things like, I don't know, probably the steel. This probably has a cast receiver, I think. Doesn't make a big difference. I understand the barrel's put on with a barrel nut. Ruger kind of pioneered that, I think, on bolt action rifles. You got push feed, cold hammer forged barrel, a nice accurate barrel. And I can't think of any other, big differences. You'll mention, I've got adjustable sights on this, by the way, so as far as the sights that do come on it. And I know that's a bugaboo with some people. They buy a nice rifle or any kind of hunting rifle, and there's no sights on it. They have no sights unless they have them put on. You get them put on. So $400 versus 2,000. Just an example. I've got my Model 70 out here. This would be another rifle, a new Model 70 Winchester. Oh, they run about 1,500. This one's a little higher because it's a vintage. It's a pre-64. Same deal. You got a really nice rifle. You can tell by the feel of it, the ergonomics and everything. And there are a lot of really nice rifles, Browning and different companies with beautiful wood that made well, that you could do this comparison with. Okay, so I'll wrap it up. This rifle will do whatever you probably need for a hunting rifle to do, and it's just that this one or that one will do it in a prettier fashion, I guess you could say. So depends on what's important to you. Both will get it done, and just like that Hyundai or that Kia will get you where you need to go on the road. But sometimes we just we feel like we want something that looks a little better, maybe has a better reputation, or we just like it, just the way we are, isn't it? So $400 will buy that rifle without the scope. A mere $2,000 will buy this one, and they'll both do the same thing, right? So I'll let you go. I just thought I'd point that out, and feel free to add to this, because those of you who shoot bolt actions a lot, like I said, bench rest them, you hunt with them a lot, I know you've got some valuable input, okay, on both of these rifles, no doubt about it. Life is good.
Tired. It's a long walk from where I had to shoot that. Oh man. Oh hey, didn't see you guys there. Since you're here, I want to let you know about our friends over at Talon Grips and Ballistol. TalonGunGrips.com. Check out everything they have over there. You can get lots of different grips, the stick-on grip textures for your handguns and rifle grips, so go check them out. Also Ballistol, they're a firearms lubricant or anything else you might need lubricating. It's water soluble and non-toxic. Been using it on the compound and cleaning all of our guns. It's a cleaner and a lube for over 10 years. So Ballistol, Talon Grips, definitely check both of those companies out. And also, while you're on the internet, don't forget to go to hickok45.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Hickok45, Twitter, Hickok45, Instagram, The Real Hickok45, and also I have an Instagram page where I post behind the scenes stuff and different things like that. John, JOHN_HICKOK45 on Instagram. And the next thing you have to do is watch more videos.